Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messinger with Picks and Parlays. The NBA playoffs are finally here inside the bubble. We've got some games to bet on. Hey guys, we've got a special deal, but act fast. For one day only, you get 25% off the entire website if you use the promo code WALL. The promo code is WALL, WALL, for 25% off. We've got Nick from the Insiders Room to talk Lakers and Blazers, which obviously a huge upset in game one. The Blazers winning that one 100-93 with the total going way under. The Lakers are still favored in this one -6.5. Total is 229 in game two. So after a wild week of NBA playoff betting, who are you taking in this one that's been a wild ride, to say the least?
Absolutely. Well, I had a client play on Portland in its game one win over the Lakers. I didn't call for the straight up upset or anything, and I'm not going to do that here either. But until the Lakers can show me that they can actually dominate someone from start to finish, and I mean like really go out there and just thrash them, and it's just a never in doubt outcome. I mean, how can anyone trust this team to actually dominate anyone? Other than their win over the Clippers in their very first game, the Lakers haven't looked really good at all. They've lost to Toronto, Oklahoma City, Houston, Indiana, Sacramento. The only two victories they have so far is over the Clippers, Jazz, and the Nuggets. So that's three. They haven't covered a single game except the one against Utah. Normally, I love going against lopsided trends and numbers as long as it sets up correctly. But in this case, I just don't think it does. At some point, the Lakers are going to cover a spread, but I just think that Lillard and McCollum, along with the improved play of the big man Nurkic in the center, I just think it's going to be too much for the Lakers to handle in this series. So yeah, I thought the recent form of the Blazers heading into the playoffs was going to pay dividends in game one of this series. And after watching that contest, I think that Portland is the correct call again in game two.
Yeah, the problem I have with the Lakers, it's really hard to back a team here, especially when they not only have to win, but win by at least 7 points to cover the spread. If you watched game one, they just looked really flat and their team chemistry just didn't seem to be there. Anthony Davis definitely didn't dominate the way I thought he was going to because the Lakers have all these big men. And I thought that, that they would dominate the boards, but they really didn't so much. Anthony Davis had 28 points, 11 rebounds. So, yeah, he had a double-double, but certainly not the numbers that we expected him to have. That being said, something I noticed on the total on this one in game one, it started around 229, and then it was slowly rising to, I think it was 232. So the public loved betting an over on this one. And the game was 100-93. So I think I like an under in this one just because the Lakers, they don't have many shooters. Danny Green is a three-point shooter, obviously. J.R. Smith barely played. So they just weren't putting up the points that they needed to keep up with the Blazers. And that being said, Damian Lillard only had 34, which for his stats and numbers is not that many. So I do like an under in this one, especially since I think the public will drive it up because the public loves to bet overs.
Yeah, you bring up some really good points there, Chelsea. Another one, of course, when the number one seed, if it were to somehow lose a game one of a series, then they'd have the advantage of the hometown crowd behind them in game two. And of course, that's not here, obviously, either. So, yeah, you brought up a lot of good points. The Lakers didn't just have any chemistry in game one. They haven't shown any chemistry whatsoever throughout the bubble, I've thought. They did show it in that game one, but ever since, it just has not been there.
Right. And the NBA in general has been a bit of a crapshoot when it comes to these playoffs. So you never know what to expect, but that's where I'm leaning right now. And that's going to do it for our Lakers Blazers talk on Picks and Parlays. Thanks, Nick, for your insight.